If you're driving your Meta or Google advertising without knowing your product cost structure, you're taking a real gamble. Let me show you the exact calculator that I use to make sure that I never miss a beat with my CPA targets or my ROAS targets. Unit economics makes it really easy to understand the exact cost structures that you need to make your Meta advertising or Google advertising work profitably. It tells you exactly what you can afford to spend to acquire a new customer and gives you the best possible margin output to make sure that you're profitable over time. This calculator is the cornerstone of every e-commerce campaign I run, and it makes everything you do moving forward a lot easier. It calculates break-even ROAS, target CPA, and target MER, all using product costs, margins, and a full understanding of what goes into making your products and your business tick. Let me show you exactly how it works. Okay, so let's quickly go through the calculator itself, go through each of the individual line item elements of it and explain what they mean and how to find them. So firstly, you've got your product or your wider collection AOV. Generally, I would recommend doing this at a product level if you're pushing individual products, and that would be the sale price or RRP price. Sometimes you may want to include the average order value of a wider collection or a wider category, just simply because you're not going to be able to deliver advertising structure setup based on single items. You've then got your cost to sell or cost to deliver line items, and these are effectively all the things that are accounted for or need to be accounted for in terms of cost for when you then sell your product at your RRP price. So that starts with VAT. In the UK, that is a 20% kind of standard flat VAT, so that will immediately come off your product. You then have cost of goods sold or COGS, which is essentially all of the costs that it takes to produce the item, the product that you're selling. In most cases, this will be the unit price that you pay for the manufacture of that item or product. You've then got shipping and receiving. Sometimes that can be considered within your COGS, but it's a separate line item here. And that's how much it costs for you to ship and then receive that item to your warehouse. You've then got your transaction or payment fees, which is effectively whatever merchant you're using to transact on your website will charge. That often is between 1% and 3%. You've then got your pick and pack fees. That's basically how much it's costing for your packaging, and then potentially any other overheads that would be included in the pick and pack process. And then you've got shipping and fulfillment, and that's effectively the cost it takes you to ship the product. And that you might bake that into your RRP, your transaction price, but ideally you want to keep that separately, particularly if you are covering some of the costs there. And finally, one that is often overlooked is return rate. So if you are a physical product and you're doing retail, for example, and you get a lot of return rate, you need to ensure that that's factored in as an average, because that's going to massively impact your margin. Finally, you have your profit section, and that's gross and net. So effectively here is where you can input the margin or the net margin that you need after your ad spend has been included. Now, an important note on this isn't necessarily a net profit target if you have not included all of your business overheads or OPEX. This is effectively contribution margin. So this is how much the sale of this product at this level would contribute to your overall net profit margin, not accounting for your fixed overheads. Okay, so let's do a quick and simple example. So let's say we have got a premium hoodie, and that premium hoodie is £100. We immediately lose £16.67 to tax. Let's say we're buying these on decent bulk, and the cost of each of these units is 30. That takes 30% of our margin away. Shipping and receiving, let's say we do, we do it bulk on pallet, and for each individual item it's £3. Our payment gateway fee is essentially a standard 1.29 if it's shop pay, for example, Shopify. Let's say our pick and pack fees on average to put things in the plastic bags and get them onto the delivery, say that's £1 a unit. Then your actual shipping, let's say you're doing a free shipping over £50, and your actual shipping cost here would be £5, and you've got an average return rate of say 2%. On average, total cost of delivery in this instance would be $58.96. 58.96% of your product value or cost value is made up of, or sale value is made up of cost. You then got what is your gross profit effectively. So you've got £41.04 or 41% to play with here. Let's say you want to make a profit of 10%. on this, or £10. That then leaves your acquisition target for that sale, or your customer cost target for that sale, if you're gearing everything around first-time customers, that's £31.04, and your ROAS target, or your blended MER target, if you're doing this globally, are as 3.22. Now this gives you basically the two metrics that you would need in Google Ads and Meta Ads, based on if you're doing your bid optimization or your target optimization based on a TCPA in Google Ads, or a TROAS in Google Ads, or a TROAS in Meta Ads, or a cost cap bidding optimization in Meta. You would use whichever one best suits. So yeah, generally this calculator will help you understand viability. So for example, in this case, £10 net profit margin for each first time sale of a product at £100 might not seem like a lot. It gives you enough viability to, reasonably achieve a 3.22 MER in your platforms incrementally, or and it gives you a really good breathing space of £31 to actually go out and acquire that customer. But you can play around with this. If you want to try and make more on your first time purchase, or look at this at a global level, and it doesn't matter if it's first or returning, you just want to make a set, a £20 profit there. You know that on average, regardless if it's new or returning, you need to be hitting a 4.75 efficiency ratio, so media efficiency ratio rate. So there you have it, nice and simple. But once you've done this exercise on any level within your business, you can certainly take these numbers, plug them into your ad platforms as your delivery targets, and suddenly you've got much more information and much better benchmarks with which to work to when you set things up. One important thing to note here is that this isn't usually as simple as just putting in ridiculously high margin and slapping that into your ad platform. You do have to play around with this and be as conservative as you possibly can, or as liberal as you possibly can, depending on business type. Be realistic. You need to be as competitive as you can in the ad platforms, and you do need to consider this within the context of lifetime value. If you've got a good lifetime value and these purchases, all these products help drive that lifetime value, then you can be more aggressive with your bids and taking less margin with each sale, because you know that down the line, if you've done your targeting structure correctly, you will be making much more profit off of the next sale or the sale after that. Once I know my viable CPA or my target ROAS, I plug this information directly into my Meta Ads campaigns, be it cost cap or bid cap or target ROAS. I've got the option. Or on Google Ads, I do exactly the same, and I set a TROAS campaign or a TCPA campaign. This ensures that every penny I spend is being accounted for and is being built to drive profit, and not just spending aimlessly and hoping for the best. A couple of common mistakes I see with this type of calculator is forgetting to use the return rate. Firstly, this is really important, particularly in fashion brands where you get a lot more returns than you would normally, and you have to account for those. And secondly, is understanding RRP, or the value of the product itself. Often people will use a global AOV here, but that doesn't account for different products targeting or setup structures. I've recently just used this exact methodology and calculator with one of my startup brands. They were doing 4K in revenue previously, and with this, we've been able to scale up to 30K a month profitably. I've linked my exact calculator that I've built and use below, so you can use it yourself. Just make a copy in the Google Sheets and then have a go at putting in your own cost structures and understanding your own target CPAs and TROAS. Use this to make your ad strategies actually work for you and not against you. And if you want to see more breakdowns like this in the future, just let me know.